Wow, here we are, back in the book of John. Let's take another look at some other things. There are 7 times Jesus says, I am. And the I ams are listed in the book of John. And we see that he was the deity of God. What is deity? That means he was God the Father, God the Son, in the flesh. God the Father, God the Son, God the Spirit, in the flesh. And the Spirit kept his body going while he was here on earth. You remember, he gave up his spirit on the cross. He said, my spirit I commend unto thee. He gave it back to the Father and then picked it back up when he went to the Father, and God put it back on him, and he came back, showed back up on the earth, walked in the upper room, endued those guys with power so they could go out and win hundreds of people to the Lord. And he's still enduing people with power today. So he said, I am the bread of life. Remember, I said on that other excerpt I did, he said, if you eat of me, you will have life eternal. 6:35. I am the light of the world. 8:12. If you do not have Jesus, you do not have the spiritual light that is in this world. Not just the physical light, but the spiritual light. He says, before Abraham was, I am. Abraham's one of the oldest recorded men in the Bible. But Jesus said, I was there before Abraham. I was there. Matter of fact, he said, I was the one that allowed Abraham to come into existence when he was a baby in his mother's womb. I am the good shepherd. 10 and 11. He is the good shepherd. Is he your good shepherd is the question. If you've never asked him to save you, he's not your good shepherd. But if you have got saved, he is your good shepherd. And that's what's important. He said, I am the resurrection. Wow. And the life. That means that he died, resurrected, and is now alive, sitting at the right hand of the Father. Wow, the reserved place of him. In chapter 11 and verse 25, he said, I am the way. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Chapter 14, verse 6. He is the way, the truth, and the life. If you don't come the way by him, you're on the wrong road. You'll never get to the truth and of life unless you're in the way, his way. And back in the Bible days, when they first started the church, they called it the way. And that's what it was, the way to heaven, through Jesus Christ. He said, I am the true vine, chapter 15 and 1. In order to say, I am a person that's going to go to heaven, I've got to be connected to the vine. And I got connected in 1972 by asking the Lord, November 5th, 3 o'clock in the morning, I said, God, save my soul. Forgive me of my sin. And he did. And been saved ever since and can't get lost. John only records the triumphal shout. It is finished. That was the shout that he gave on the cross. It is finished. The finished work of salvation is accomplished only by the Son of God. Chapter 19 and verse 30 was when he said, it is finished. John says that he wrote the gospel that men might believe. Now the reason John wrote his gospel, and it's all about Jesus, that men might believe that Jesus was the Christ, the one that was talked about all through the Old Testament, the one that was to come, and that was him, and he came. This part is especially for the Jews. The Jewish people have rejected him in spite of the fact John said, and to the Jews, he is the one, he is the Messiah, to lead them to the personal belief and to the not just the historical fact that Jesus was, but that he was not just historically here, he was here spiritually. And as the Messiah, who came to the fulfillment of the Old Testament. He fulfilled the Old Testament. When the Old Testament was finished, when Jesus said on the cross, it is finished, and he rent the veil. When he left the cross, and he's going down to walk through the height of the earth and preach to those in the heart of the earth, he rent the veil, went through it, tore it in twain, and went down through it and went into the heart of the earth and preached to those in hell, those that were captive. And he preached to those in paradise. And then he took those from paradise with him to heaven on that day. And the Bible said he stopped for a minute while he took the blood. He went and got the blood under the cross and picked it up and put it in a vase to take with him to the Father, to put it down on the altar with the Father. Before he could take anybody into heaven with him, he had to put that blood there. So those others, they walked around on the earth. They were seen of other men walking around on the earth, and Elijah and them. And they were seen. And so, and then he came back and got them. So that was the fulfillment of the Old Testament. John's Christ is the Messiah revealed. The Messiah means God's anointed one and the king. He was God's anointed king on the earth in a physical body. Wow. And we see that Nathanael said, Rabbi. Wow. When he said Rabbi, that means master of all. When he said that. And he saw, thou art the Son of God. And that was in chapter 1 and 49. The King of Israel. Wow. And Nathanael saw him as that. And remember, to the woman at the well, he declared himself the long-existing Messiah. What did she say to him? I said this in the other excerpt. She said, do you know there's one talked about that's going to come? How could you tell me this except you be he? He said, I am he. He revealed himself, bam, to her, just like that. And she saw him for what he was, for the truth. And she fled from him and went and told the whole city and brought the whole city, all the men of the city, it said, she brought them back. Why? She had known most of those men physically, and she had a rapport with them. And she said, look, I'm not joking. I'm telling you the truth. There's a man at the well who is Jesus. He is the Christ incarnate, come on this earth. And you must come. And they did. They came, and they were saved. And the whole city, there was a revival because of that one woman. That one woman. We are too quick sometimes to cast stones. Jesus did not cast any stones at her. He just considered her just like any other person as a sinner. And that was it. I talked to a man this week. He said, but sir, talking to me, I only sin I ever did is maybe I went out with some women that weren't my wife. And he said, other than that, I'm a good person. Surely God would have me. I said, sir, you must realize we are all born sinners. And until you realize you're a born sinner, all those things that you think you do that are good or righteous are not. They're good acts, but they're not righteous in the eyes of God. You have to be saved to do righteous in the eyes of God. You have to say, God, I am a sinner. Forgive me of my sin, come in my heart, and save my soul. The things you do are actions of the fact that prove you are a sinner, that prove you are lost, that prove you do need Jesus Christ. Back in 72, November 5th, when I was an alcoholic, 3 o'clock in the morning, wrecked my car, I said, God, forgive me, I'm a sinner. Come in my heart and save my soul. He did. Never took another drink or swore another cuss word. That's Jesus. That's God in His fullness. He came. He saved me. He put me where I am now, 40 years later. Still serving Him. Have had a good life serving Him. And I'm able to function now only because God's keeping me function. I lost my wife last April after 60 years of marriage. And I'm still doing what I was doing while she was with me. It didn't throw me off kilter. Maybe the devil said, well, I can throw him off kilter. Well, he hasn't thrown me off kilter. Because I'm still doing what I always did, and I'm going to do it until the day I die, Lord willing. And I know the Lord is willing. And so He's going to have me do it. Well, our time is come and gone. We've got to get out of here before we run over. We'll see you next time. Right. Bye-bye. Oh, I got to get...